Hi everyone. It is noon, so we're going to get started. Thank you for registering for this financial literacy webinar. Don't fall for it. Cyber safety in the season of scams. I'm Sarah Wallstrom, financial literacy specialist here at CMB Bank. Financial education is my passion. And for today, I enlisted a few subject matter experts to help us. We're going to do hot topics, general scams, statistics, resources, and follow-up actions. Um, so without much further ado, I will introduce our first speaker, Rob Jacobs, VP Information Security Officer at CMB Bank. All right, Rob, go ahead, take it away.
No, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Well, somehow it is the holiday season already. Hard to believe, but my wife just put a mini Christmas tree in my office this weekend, so I guess it's true. Um, as much as most of us enjoy this time of year, it also comes with a lot bigger risk of being scammed or taken advantage of. We wanted to share some of the common scams that are out there and help you try to avoid them. So, what are scams? They're basically just a way for malicious individuals or organizations to take advantage of you, and they either want your money or they want your personal and financial information so they can get your money. Holiday scams just take advantage of the holiday season to use additional methods to reach you. So, the impacts from falling victim to scammers can be significant. I know I've personally had credit card fraud 10 or more times over the last few years. I can imagine that having your checking or savings account information stolen or your accounts drained could be far worse than that. And I didn't enjoy just the credit card side of it. So there are other impacts that you might have to deal with as well that you may not have considered, but those include time lost dealing with the impacts from being scammed, the loss of personal information and potentially other scammers using that to take advantage of you, mental health and stress effects from dealing with the impacts, and your credit health could be hurt significantly too. So we encounter scams through our everyday use of technology and interactions with people. And those are all the obvious methods: email, text messages, phone messages, web browsing, especially social media sites. We'll talk quite a bit about that, or even physical mail. So if you get ads or catalogs, whatever type of mail, physical mail that contains QR codes or URLs, anything like that, those are potential methods to scam you through your technology as well. So one thing I wanted to mention before diving in, we get asked a lot about artificial impacts and what risks increase uh, to our security at work. But it's also worth thinking about in this context too, as I describe some of the scams that you could run into. There's a couple impacts from artificial intelligence on this. One is the ability of AI to collect and organize large amounts of data for you, which can help the scammers. And also, AI can make scams much more convincing because of things like improved messaging that it can do, and also like website design that can be a lot more convincing. There isn't much you can do about AI and its impacts here other than to remain cautious and take appropriate steps to protect yourself, which we'll talk about some of those here. So now on to some of the specific scams. And we'll start with one of the basic ones, an obvious one. One of the most common scams is offering popular or hard to get toys or other gifts, jewelry, designer clothing, that type of thing, often at big discounts because they're hard to get and they generate demand and are used by scammers to draw your attention. Always place orders through legitimate websites, and I'll focus on that a lot as we go along too. Otherwise, you could end up with fake products, which people don't think a lot about. You might or might not know that it's a fake product when you receive it. And also the potential to not receive a product at all if it's through a scam website. And another area, holiday travel is hugely popular, of course, but it also draws scammers that try to take advantage of you. There are many, many fake travel websites out there offering discounted travel. While you can, of course, find discounts on travel sites, if a deal sounds too good to be true, just trust your gut and avoid it. Or if you want to pursue it, do your research before making the purchase. And we'll talk about some of the due diligence that you can do. Use trusted companies, access directly through their websites if you can, not through links obtained through especially social media, but also emails or texts. If you do book travel through some type of broker, then one thing you can do is after booking that travel, go directly to the travel sites themselves, whether it's a cruise line or airline, whatever it might be. Check those sites directly to ensure your reservations were made. If you were scammed, it's far better to know sooner rather than later. Another huge area for scams is gift cards. So gift card scams are very common, and there's a bunch of different ways that scammers take advantage of us with these. So one is they can steal the card number and PIN directly in the store. So if you can buy cards where they're behind a counter or where the cashier's validated in some way before they give it to you. Otherwise, you can get a card that's already been used and has no value at all. Scammers might email or text you to buy a gift card and give them the numbers off the back, like to pay a bill or make a purchase. Only scammers will do this. There's no reason anyone should ever ask for a gift card to pay any kind of bill or make online payment. One of our daughters once called us while she was in the car driving to a grocery store to buy hundreds of dollars of gift cards to pay an IRS tax debt. She luckily called us on her way there. We told her it was a scam, and she was hot, but she avoided making that purchase. So it ended well. But it's very common and it's very convincing. So scammers might tell you that they're with the government, IRS in that example, from tech support like Microsoft. They can say they're calling for a family member with an emergency or you've won a prize. Utility company scams or scammers saying they're the utility company and you have a bill are common. And then unfortunately, even like dating websites will try to convince you to send money from a gift card. So scammers can send text messages imitating a chain store as well and offer you a free gift card if you complete a survey. So I get survey requests all the time, but I've never had one linked to a gift card offer. So be aware of that. They're just trying to get you to click a link and download malware or collect your personal information. Scammers can also impersonate companies and send text or email to they'll call you a loyal customer or something like that and offer a free gift card if you enter certain information. Again, they're just trying to get you to click on a link and either get malware or collect your sensitive information. So these usually come in via email or text. So use your phishing prevention knowledge that you get through the training here at the bank. It applies for home as well. Social media gift exchanges. So I had never heard of this, but this is basically a modern version of Secret Santa, where you sign up usually through a social media site, and you buy a gift for someone else that's on the site that you've never met and are not familiar with. So you enter personal information, you buy a gift and send it to someone that you don't know, spending your money, and you might never get a gift. Or even if you do, there's a chance they're just stealing your personal information and will use it against you later. There's also pet versions of this where you're buying gifts for other people's pets. So just be aware of that. And also be aware that these gift exchanges online are considered pyramid schemes, which are illegal. If you have an Apple or Android or other, I assume, phones, there are holiday themed applications, and some of these are scams as well. So one example of an application, not necessarily a scam, but a holiday themed application is you can allow kids to chat with Santa through the application. Just be aware of the privacy policies related to these applications. Not something you probably generally do, but it's worth looking at, especially if your kid's information is included in what you submit, and also be aware that there's a potential for in-app purchases that you might not be aware of. So a big area, another big area that isn't a surprise to anyone, but it's delivery and package scams. So I get text messages like all the time with this one. They often say that they're having the package has been delivered to a warehouse, having trouble confirming my address, and they include a link in the text that I'm supposed to copy and exit and paste somewhere else. They'll never do that. If you've never had that occur before, it's pretty obvious that they're trying to trick you into providing information, and avoid those at all costs. You might also receive a text saying that the delivery driver is trying to find your home, and they want you to enter information. They might text or call you saying you need to pay a fee to receive a package. Again, they're trying to either get your financial information or get more information about you. What can you do to prevent these? So pretty straightforward. Wouldn't even hurt to keep a log, but keep track of your expected deliveries. Know what's expected and when and who it's coming from. So if something shows up that you didn't expect, you can be more on your guard and cautious. Never give sensitive personal information to anyone. I might say that more than twice on this. So again, treat emails or texts related to this as potential phishing, and treat them like you would an email. Although we can't report them. And then be familiar with your delivery company policies. So has this company ever contacted you in this manner before? You can go directly to their site and research how they might contact you. And we'll have some other ways to research scams here in just a minute. This one's sad, but quick, and wanted to include it. Pet scams. So lots of people want to buy pets for their family over the holidays. New puppy, new kitten. But I saw one statistic that said up to 80% of advertisements for pets online, especially through social media, are fake. That was up to 80% of those advertisements. So be aware. And I wasn't familiar with this one either. Advent calendars are popular this time of year, but they're often malicious sites. They sell inferior, cheap products, or don't send anything at all. And again, they've just stolen your information, or at least gotten money from you, basically for nothing in return. Fake charities are very popular this time of year. So people can be very generous around the holidays, and scammers will try to take advantage of that. You can use the Better Business Bureau's give.org website to verify whether a charity is authentic or not. So do your research before sending money or confidential information, again, to any organization, even charities. If you're traveling over the holidays, some of the things you can do to keep mail and packages from being stolen or set up a temporary delivery hold. Very easy to do. Have your packages go to a secure parcel locker, to like a UPS store or something like that. Schedule deliveries to arrive when you know you'll be home, and you can usually do that when you're ordering. You can have packages delivered to neighbors, or easily you can have a signature required. So if you're not sure if you'll be home or not, you can require a signature so it won't get left there if you're not home. So quickly, how to avoid some of these scams. It's pretty common sense for the most part. So take a second to consider every time you receive a call, receive a text, an email, or you use your credit card, whether it's online or physically in person. And that's every time. It's just the world we live in now. It only takes a few seconds to do, and if you do it, it'll become habit pretty quickly. Things to consider every time. If you aren't expecting a call, text, email, or a package, use caution. So that should be something that raises the warning flag for you to at least consider. If something is unsolicited, verify authenticity through another means. So this one is important. So instead of clicking on links, you can always go to like an official company website, verify the company's contact information through that website or through other means. And if it's from an individual, you can contact them directly through another means. So if you receive email from a friend with a link in it that you're not sure of, give them a call or send them an email directly to the address that you know is good. Deal with stores and sites that you trust. So deals are great, but they can also be more risky if you have to go through an unknown site. And then this is a big one. I use this all the time. Google something like, is this site name legitimate? You will be shocked how often a good response comes back from that. Whether you'll get site ratings and that kind of thing, but you also get comments from individuals saying they were taken advantage of. And you can do searches for specific language taken out of the message that you received. It works really well. And that also works for phone numbers. You can Google who is calling from this number. Maybe it's AT&T trying to sell you something, or maybe it's a well-known scam. That often gives you good information. So pay with credit cards whenever you can, of course, for the fraud protection, and use one-time use credit card numbers, which I was not familiar with until recently, and these work extremely well too. Easy to grab from your credit card company and use for purchases that you're concerned about. What if you do get scammed? Secure your bank and credit card accounts, and that means change your passwords immediately for all those. Use separate passwords for each one. Turn on two-factor authentication so you get validation codes if at all possible. Of course, malware and antivirus, make sure those are updated and run them. Report it to your financial institution, and then in general, keep an eye on your accounts if you think you might have been scammed. And if you see other activity, you'll be alerted to it sooner. A couple quick resources. Better Business Bureau, they have an actual scam tracker online that you can access to stay current. Easy to find it on their website. And again, just Google to see if you're seeing a scam. High likelihood that you'll see it out there if it's a big scam. And hopefully some of this is useful information and can help you avoid being taken advantage of during the holiday season. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. I appreciate the reminders, the resources, but I also learned something new, the social media scam. I have not seen that yet or heard of it. So
That,
now I
that was
guess
new
it's
for
just a
me.
waiting game before it shows up somewhere. Next to follow up with Rob is Trooper Ron Tuning, Community Affairs Officer with the Pennsylvania State Police. He's going to talk a little bit about scams, reports, statistics, things he's personally seen, maybe horror stories. So take it away, Trooper Tuning.
Okay, yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add, I guess, after Mr. Jacobs talked about that. But as far as statistically, some of our reporting, the way we do reporting could be a little skewed as far as numbers, but because they get put into a certain category that is a whole bunch of different things in the theft, fraud, and forgery category. So it's hard to determine which ones exactly were scams. But some of the common ones that we seem to deal with now are even romance scams, where somebody, and usually elderly, makes a friend online, and that person gives them, actually gives them a location where they're at, but it's usually not where they are. It's usually not the picture that they see. And one that I dealt with, I guess most recently would be this gentleman was supposed to be in Arizona, and he kept saying that he wanted to come see her, and she would send him money for airline tickets. And then he would always cancel. Something came up where he couldn't go. But each time he would still need money for another airline ticket. He didn't, have any of that money that she had sent him. So that's common. But we do have, a lot of people using the gift cards. And as you had said, Mr. Jacobs, it seems common sense that why are we going to get gift cards for, say, the IRS or anybody else? But people do it all the time. And it is a red flag that if you get asked to get gift cards, to not do it. but somehow getting the word out is not enough, because we send things out, social media, news releases, things like that, warning people of this, and it still happens all the time. Now, I don't know, people aren't seeing things, or people just easy to convince. I'm not sure what the problem is with that, but we do have people actually purchasing items online with gift cards, and it turns out to be fraudulent. Still, not sure why somebody would want you to go get several gift cards and then give you the numbers, whether it be online or by telephone, but it happens often. And you guys have probably dealt with, as we do as well, is people get money in the mail saying that if you deposit this money for us, we'll give you so much money back as long as you send us the rest of the money. And that happens a lot as well, where people think, okay, I'm going to get free money, and they deposit the money into their checking account or savings, whichever, and they get the money out because they want it right away. And by the time the check clears, it's a fraudulent check, and they're out of that money as long if that's what they had in their checking account. Now, I'm not sure on the bank's side of that, as far as assisting people that happens to, but I do know that there are county services that help recover some money for victims. So if they go to their county, they may be able to get some recovery that way, even if they don't from the bank. Charity scams, a lot of people want to give money to help somebody. But again, a lot of people get gift cards, and that's a sign that people should see but don't. Another common one that we have is the grandparent scam. Somebody will call and say they were in an accident or they were arrested and they need bail money, and they'll ask either for credit card information or for them to go get check cards and give them the numbers that way. And that happens much more frequently than we would expect as well. Now, as far as the theft, fraud, and forgery numbers, as far as the numbers go, we don't have a lot of them. We have around 40, I would say, for this year. And that's Punxsutawney, 30 to 40 for this year. But it could be considered quite a lot, but it's enough. And people have lost a lot of money through the ones that they have. But if they don't lose money, and as I was telling you, Ms. Wallstrom, that we refer them to you guys, and if you have an investigatory body that takes care of that, then it's changed possibly to a different number, or we have them report these to the Attorney General's office, who has a phone number that you call, and they put them all into a larger number, and then they investigate it because they're calling scams, and they'll look at it that way. And they may have to, if it is an overseas organization, turn that over to the FBI for their investigation. I'm not sure that exactly if that's what you were looking for from me, but if anybody has questions, I'll answer. That might be easier if somebody has any questions for me that I can clarify something.
I think that you've really highlighted around the holidays how people play on people's vulnerabilities. They're lonely, the romance scams, family, the grandparent scams, fake charities. So I guess just be vigilant out there. Scammers know how to effectively play on human vulnerability. And I think, Rob, you said it. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Probably is. It was strange. I had somebody on my way in this morning give me a call. This gentleman's a friend of his mother. They believe she's being a romance scam and sending him money. And they don't know what to do because they looked up this individual, and one that it was supposed to be was actually supposedly from New York and married with children, which doesn't mean that he wasn't the guy doing it and trying to get money, but they tracked it down to an overseas account. And the problem is there that she does not believe them. Even after presenting the information to her, she still doesn't believe that this person is not real and that he loves her, you know. And these people are very good at what they do. I think they actually train on this. You know, they take trainings to learn how to manipulate, and they're very good at it. And people, especially older people, are taken advantage of. And I don't know what safeguards do you guys have to help people? Is there anything that the bank has to help assist, especially maybe the elderly, or gives them advice if they come in to get money? Is that something you're allowed to do, or is that something that just you have to let it go?
So I'm back office. Does any other CNB people have insight on this? Because I do not want to speculate.
Hi, it's Linda. I'm at the Asbury office. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Linda.
Hey, what we normally try to do is like if it's uncommon, our UAs will try to talk to them and try to discern if where's the money going? Do you know this person? How long have you known them? Have you met in person? And try to get information from them and kind of guide them. And if we feel that we think it's a scam or a romance scam, or we will get our fraud department involved. And I've actually had a couple of them actually talk to our clients before and try to get through because, as the trooper stated, a lot of times they don't want to believe it, and they are very leery. They don't they now start don't trust us because we're kind of stepping on their dream. You know, they think this is real. So we've had customers that will lie to us regarding scams, and they'll say they've been told after the fact when they discover it's a scam. The scammers have told them don't talk to the bank, don't give them any information. But and so they'll make up a story and tell us. We try to work with them as best we can, but we have to rely on them to kind of be honest with us. And that's if we do feel like it is a scam, especially if it's a wire. If we do feel like we have in a romance scam, we did this 3 or 4 years ago. We refused to wire the funds. She got very upset, told us that we were keeping her funds from her. And we said, no, ma'am, the funds are yours. We're just not going to be advocate to sending them to what we believe is a scam with too many red flags. Um, she chose, we told her we could give her the money if she chose to go somewhere else. If that's what she wanted, but we advised her not to. She did come back later, actually, with one of our local detectives.
Linda, I think we lost you
Oh,
at the
wait,
very
did you lose me?
Yep. What
Yeah,
you
the phone rang again.
the last thing we heard was she came back with a detective.
She came back with a detective, and of course, it was a scam. And they were just trying to gather a little bit more information. But it really does boil down to we can't we have to give them the money if they want, and we just trust that they're being honest with us.
Thank you for helping fill in some of the gaps, Linda.
No problem.
Now, as far as that goes, even like when somebody takes out after a certain amount of money, there's a lot of questions you guys ask. Are those also used to help perhaps people that way to keep them from getting scammed? I mean, I
We
know it's
do, yeah. If they're, I mean, like if they're taking out $10,000 or so, there are always questions asked whether we think it's for a scam or not. That because fraud usually will contact us at some point and want to know, why was this money taken? Where did it go? Where was it being wired to? They're going to want to know information if it's especially if it's over that $10,000 threshold.
I know Walmart, some of the larger retailers like in Target, they train their associates, especially at the customer service, that if somebody's buying large amounts of gift cards and things like that, to try to be inquisitive and see if they can figure out maybe if they are being scammed or not.
Yeah, kind of the first screening tool would be our frontline people, the cashiers and the universal associates who are interacting with the customers. Does anybody else have any questions, comments, insight?
I do have a question for the trooper. Do you guys recommend that they file a police report?
Generally, well, if they're out money for sure. And that is a lot of times required for different companies, that they have an incident number to prove that they actually went to the police to have an investigation performed. Now, sometimes if it's that I know of, if it's a non-monetary loss, they send them to the Attorney General's office to report the scam.
Okay.
But usually most companies do require an incident report of some kind from the police.
We have run into cases where, due to being embarrassed, they don't want to file a report. They don't want to go and admit that they were scammed. We don't technically require it, because fraud will say if they file a report, please have them provide it, but we don't require it. So that's why I didn't know if it was best. We tried it. We tell them, again, this is where we rely on them. We tell them it would be a good idea for them to report it. Whether they do or not, unfortunately, that's up to them.
Yeah, and sometimes they are out of state and they get referred to another agency also after that, if the crime has occurred outside of the state. But as you said, Mr. Jacobs, the too good to be true things, a lot of people are also taken on the lottery scams. They send money for the taxes and then they don't get any winnings. I don't know. It happens. I don't know how, but if you didn't, I always tell people, because I talk to a lot of senior citizen centers, and if you didn't enter the lottery or sweepstakes, then you didn't win. It just doesn't happen that you happen to be that one that won that prize. But people, they just trust people, especially some of the elderly. They grew up in a trusting generation, and they tend to still trust a lot of people. And or they don't have somebody to ask for advice, and or they don't want to.
Is that where you see the highest propensity of fraud, is with the older generation?
I would say. And they say too that millennials, that generation, is pretty trusting and or wanting to get ahead quickly. So they have a tendency to put more money out there for things that may not be legitimate, thinking that they're going to get a quick turnaround on their money.
That makes sense.
Yes, mostly the elderly.
Any other questions? Well, thank you to both of my presenters. Thank you to everyone who signed up to view this webinar. I want to wish you all a great day and a very happy Thanksgiving and holiday season. Stay safe out there.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.